Hello, my dears. As you might recognize, this is Topaz talking, but this is Rose on screen. And today we are just going to tell Rose's story because I realized we never gave the backstory for our characters. So Rose has given me permission to tell the story of her character. Hold on, gotta sit up. So, here we go, I suppose. I will keep the character on the screen pretty still, most likely, so I don't accidentally miss any details. Of course, I have the story, and I have taken a little bit of time to memorize it. I'm gonna stand her up real quick, just so y'all can see how completely adorable her outfit is. Like, look at this thing. Look at it. It's beautiful. Let me sit her back down and get her back on the bench, right? Alright. This is the story of Rose Frostthorn, one that legend should never forget. A child like no other, blessed with power no one understood. This is the story of the winter's frost and the child that was born. A tear fell from the eye of a heartbroken maiden onto a rose with 7 thorns. The flower wilted. The woman's grief had touched its very core. 7 petals of the rose. 7 petals of the rose fell and wrapped themselves around the thorns. And then the thorns too fell from the stalk that wilted and died. And then the petals released their grip on the thorn, and in front of the heartbroken woman sat 7 little children, littler than anything she had ever seen, no taller than the rose's stalk. Well, stem, not stalk. Each child had a different colored hair, and later she would discover a different power. Since they had all been born at the same time of the rose's thorn, they were all given the first name Rose and the last name Thorn. The woman had been a gardener. This had been her practice. As each of the children discovered their power, their middle name was given to them. Our particular Rose, with her white hair, was blessed with the powers of winter. And so, Frost was the name given to her. Frost loved to interact with beings Sorry, I'm messing up a bit here. I apologize, Rose. Rose loved to interact with beings more restricted than herself. She would play with other children, but find that they grew older, much faster than she did, and often watched as her friends died. Her sisters, each of a different color hair and a different middle name, didn't tend to interact with these beings like she did. They tended to keep to themselves, for they didn't want any trouble. But one day, Rose's icy powers were discovered by these beings, and although not understanding her capabilities, she only saw herself as one of them. She was praised as if she were a god, even though she were far from it. She was just a miracle born by chance. Or maybe a blessing to the heartbroken woman. The gardener. that she should have something to keep her happy. The gardener lived with the children for as long as she could. But soon even she could not keep track of them, noticing they did not age as she. Each of the 7 rose sisters from the 7 thorns of the rose began to split. And then time itself noticed their being and decided it was not fair that they should live longer than the others. So time itself put a curse upon the sisters. They would suffer. When they died, they would come back, stuck like this forever, until their true love found them and broke the curse. Until love broke a curse of heartbreak. And that is the end of the story, my dears. I do hope you enjoyed. Well, that is the end of Rose's story. What do you think? Did you expect such a heartbreaking story? Well, I consider it heartbreak, considering Rose's character was born from the tears of a weeping woman who had most likely been betrayed by a very bad boyfriend. But the story doesn't go into a detail about that, so I'm only assuming. So what do you think? Did you like the story? Or was it something you didn't expect? Also, I'm not showing it currently, but Rose's eyes are actually red because of the red rose her and her sisters were born from. That's not even a word. Were born from, so her eyes are red, but her hair is white, to represent the wintry powers she's known to have. And since she does have the name Rose Thorn, I think Rose also mentioned that she has a slight control over plants with thorns, and a little bit like that. I think all the sisters can do that. It's just more the wintry frost and ice thing that she does of her own. And that is where I shall end this video. And Rose has requested that I say this. Even though a rose wilted, there's no telling what can come from it. Just because it's wilted doesn't mean the happiness it brought when it bloomed has faded. Goodbye. Hope to see you next time. Who knows what stories are going to be told.